Hello. In this video you will learn how to use the midpoint formula, how to apply the distance formula to determine the perimeter of a triangle, the height of a triangle, and the area of a triangle. In the warm-up we will be reviewing how to calculate the distance between 2 points. We will be using this for the second part of the video. As you can see, we have 3 problems with 2 sets of coordinates, and the formula for the distance formula is at the top left of this screen. For each of these problems we will follow the same steps, which are to substitute or plug in the numbers to the formula, then simplify the expression, and calculate and write the answer rounded to the nearest tenth place. For the first problem, the distance is equal to 5.4. For the second problem, the distance is equal to 14.4. And for the last problem, the distance is equal to 8.1. Here is the midpoint formula. The midpoint is exactly halfway between points on a segment. To find the midpoint you must calculate the averages of the coordinates. In this activity, the problem asks to find the midpoint on each side of the square, and then to connect the midpoints, and determine the resulting polygon. To find the midpoint, you will need to know the coordinates of each point, so that is where we will start. Next we will calculate the midpoint of each segment between each point. The midpoint of the first segment is 2.5, 2.5. The midpoint of the first segment is 2.5, minus 2.5. The midpoint of the first segment is negative 2.5, negative 2.5. The midpoint of the first segment is negative 2.5, 2.5. For part B, the problems asks to determine the polygon formed when connecting the points formed by the midpoints. The polygon made by the midpoints is a square because each side is equal, and its sides are parallel and adjacent are perpendicular. We know this because each side is equal to 5, and each side is perfectly vertical and horizontal. This is a question that has been in a previous geometry CBA exam. The problem asks to find the midpoint of a line segment given 2 points. To find the midpoint, just plug in the numbers to the formula. The midpoint of the 2 points is negative 4, 16. Our next problem is the same as the previous problem. Once again we are asked to find the midpoint of a segment given 2 endpoints. After using the formula, the midpoint is 4, 5. To find the perimeter you must add up all the sides of a polygon. To find the length of each side you must add the lengths of the sides, and to find the lengths of the sides you must find the distance between each point. Since our first task is to find the perimeter, which leads us to using the distance formula to find the length of each side. The distance of the first segment, xz, is the square root of 32, which is approximately 5.66. The distance of the second segment, yz, is the square root of 80, which is approximately 8.94. The distance of the last segment, xy, also is the square root of 80, which is approximately 5.66. Now that we found the lengths of each side, we need to add up the side lengths to get the perimeter. After adding the sides, the total is 23.54, meaning that the perimeter of the triangle is 23.54. For the next part of the problem asks to find the area of the triangle. While there are at least 3 ways to find the area of this triangle, this video will focus on one way. To find the area of the triangle, we need to know the formula area is 1/2, base times height. To find the area we need to find the length of a segment and the length of a segment perpendicular to the base that extends to the top of the triangle. For this problem, segment XZ will be used as the base. Now that a base has been selected, the next step is to find the slope of the base. To find the slope, we can use the slope formula or use rise over run. Here we used rise over run and determined that the slope is -4/4 or -1. The step is to find the slope of the segment perpendicular to the base. Since the slope of the base is -1, then the slope of the perpendicular segment will be +1. Now the next step will be to find the midpoint of the base and to draw an auxiliary line from the base to the top of the triangle. The midpoint of the base is 4, 3. The next thing to do is to find the height of the triangle. This means that we need to find the distance between the base and the top of the triangle to find the height. After using the distance formula, we can see that the height of the triangle is the square root of 72, which is approximately 8.485. The next step is to find the length of the base by using the distance formula. After using the formula, the length is the square root of 32, which is about 5.657. Now that we have the length of both the base and the height, the last thing to do is to plug in the numbers to the formula, and simplify the expression. Once simplified, we get a final answer of the area of the triangle is equal to 95.999, which rounds to 96. This is the end of the video. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you, and goodbye.